Hello, I'm John Brink and we are podcasting on the Brink from beautiful, beautiful downtown Prince George, the capital of northern BC. And for all those international people that are watching us from all over the world, go on a holiday, go to Canada, and then enjoy Vancouver, Victoria, but come to Prince George in northern BC, a place that you will never forget. I have a special guest today, and Mindy Stroet.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, I was looking a little bit at your name, and so I looked it up actually this morning because I always kind of look. My name is Brink, and I was born in Holland, and I always kind of think that maybe it's the Dutch connection, but maybe not. So I looked it up, and it's Stroet. You will like this. And I thought, oh my God, how more appropriate can it be? Because Stroet is Irish, Welsh, British, okay. And then it means to gather. Oh. I did it on Google. Huh. And I thought, oh, how appropriate.
That is very
be sitting here
and
I want to get to know it's Dutch.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's Dutch. And, and then your husband's family came from Holland?
That's correct, yeah. So they both independently with their own families came to the Smithers Hazelton region. Yeah. And then they met and got married. And
after the Second World War, a lot of people left Holland, including parts of my family. They were afraid that the Russians would push through, and they would then in particular go after the people that had been active in the underground, and so we had a number of family in my family that left, and I was born in 1940, and I still remember around in 1950 I was 10 and 11 years old, and my mother's sister and her family left, and it was devastating. And I always remember this because you would never see him again. Yeah. Ever. Yeah. Can you believe that? And now we say, for the weekend, I'm going to go to, let me see, can you book me a flight? I want to go to Amsterdam or wherever. Yeah. And for the weekend, I'll be back on Monday.
I know, it's crazy how times have advanced.
Isn't it?
It is, yeah. But there's so my father-in-law, the house that he grew up in Holland, there's a bench in front of it.
Where? Location?
In Amsterdam.
Amsterdam,
yeah.
Okay.
And it's an iconic bench, and the siblings, all of us, or well, not all of us have made it there yet, but a number of them have gone and taken a photo sitting on that bench.
Amazing.
So that's my goal, is to go and do that.
Have you been in Holland?
I haven't.
So when are you going?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Soon. Yeah.
So give me a bit of background for yourself. You are born...
So I was born in the Kootenays in Castlegar.
Okay. Yeah.
And we traveled a lot, moved a lot as a family. And my dad was a power engineer, so we moved with his job. We lived in Mackenzie for a number of years.
Okay.
Ontario.
Did you live then in Mackenzie?
We did, yeah. We lived in 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Ontario?
And then Ontario, so Kirkland Lake, Ontario, which is about a couple hours north of North Bay. Okay. And then Williams Lake. So I graduated high school in Williams Lake and came to Prince George for UNBC.
Yeah, amazing, yeah?
Yes, amazing. Really grateful and glad that I came to this school. It's incredible. Yeah. Highly recommend it to anybody.
Yeah. Best small university in Canada.
That's right.
Year after year after year.
That's right.
And getting better. Yeah. And growing, right?
Absolutely.
So, what did you take?
Marketing and international business. Okay. So, Bachelor of Commerce.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the objectives and from a goal perspective were going in those particular.
Yeah, and at the time when I first went to school, I was going to be an accountant, and I took my first accounting class and decided that was not for me.
No.
I needed something a little bit more creative and more engaging with the community. So I switched to marketing and international business.
Right.
Worked at as a project assistant for a company for a number of years while going to school.
Here?
And, yes, in Prince George here. Okay. And then I fell into fundraising for Barkerville.
So, for which?
So for Barkerville Historic Town.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you were quite involved in that area as well, right?
Yes.
That then we attracted a lot of investment into movies and films in this area, right?
Yeah, so the work that I was involved in was really about repairing the infrastructure of Barkerville. So as you know, it's a small town.
Right.
So like fire suppression system needed to be upgraded.
Let's just talk for our international watchers, because it's so interesting. Barkerville is where there was a gold rush in the late 1800s.
That's right.
And if for our guests just visualize BC, it's a big, big place, probably 1,500 kilometers long from the south till the Yukon border, south to north, east to west. We are right in the center of it.
That's right.
And then it's fairly rough terrain and mountains and all those kind of things. Barkerville would have been 650, 700 kilometers north of Vancouver.
Yeah.
How did they ever get there?
By foot.
Yeah.
Which is incredible to think that they, went along that terrain to get to where they are. And when we look at it now, when we're driving in our cars, like it's just, it astounds me at, how mentally and physically tough they were to be able to do that.
It is a must see, right? And it is being preserved.
It is.
Investments are made in it too, and you obviously got involved in that as well. And then I've been there several times. I try to go there at least once a year if I can. And then, sometimes I walk through that graveyard, and the thing that strikes me, how young those people were that are buried there. Yeah. And that made the way from all over the world, really, to go to the finding gold in Barkersville.
Yeah, and it was, a passion project. It was the hope of finding a better life, and I guess really striking it rich. That was their dream.
But not many did.
Not many did.
And some of the ones that did never left rich from Barkerville because they lost it all.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But it's an incredible historic site. It's great for families. And, just like you said, we try to go every single year as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as somebody that was born in Holland in 1940, and then, Canada to me is very, very special because we were liberated by the Canadians April the 12th, 1945. Made such an impression on me as a 5-year-old, 4 or 5, that I always knew I wanted to go to Canada right from then. It was not if, but when. And I always felt this, I'm a Canadian, I want to go to Canada, so, and I did finally when I was 24, but, it's such an amazing, amazing country here, and then, and so diverse, and so large, you can only fully appreciate it. It's coming from Holland, in Holland saying, where does your brother live or whatever? I said, oh, he's all the way over there in Holland. Okay, how long does it get to get there? About 3/4 of an hour in the car. Yeah. Really, and we're here. Yeah. The driving to Vancouver from the center of British Columbia is about 9.5, 10 hours in that area, depending on what they're doing on the road.
That's right.
And, but it is an amazing country in regards to the nature, and especially all the areas are unique. Vancouver Island is, Victoria, obviously everybody knows Victoria. Vancouver, an amazing city, and the lower mainland, and then we have the mountains, and then the interior, and then once we get to Prince George, where we are today, it's only halfway up.
That's right.
BC, and all around us, Prince George was incorporated, I think, in 1914 or so, relatively
right
young.
There,
and all around us, it's now about 80,000 people. I believe it will go to about double that within 20 years. I always say it will double in size not because of the politicians, but in spite of them, because of location.
Yeah.
You know, and all around us, you know, we got forest. All as far as the eye can see, we probably have 100 lakes here in 50, 60 kilometers all around us, and it's all nature. We can leave here, drive 5 minutes, and we can see a deer, we can see a moose, we see bears, and they are all part of nature in northern British Columbia.
Yeah, yeah. We're lucky to live here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially if you're an outdoor enthusiast, it's the perfect place.
And especially even then, and bringing up a family, because when I first came here in the mid-60s, it was called the boomtown. You know, and saying, oh, okay, how long have you been here? Well, I've been here so long, and when are you leaving? That kind of a city.
Right.
Now, it's a perfect place to raise a family.
Absolutely.
Especially considering COVID.
Yes.
You know, and then we have all the underlying infrastructure. We're always working on getting more an arts center for one, you know, but that's all coming. We have colleges, universities, the best in Canada, small university, just a new swimming pool right behind us as we look at it from here. And all those things are a perfect place to grow up a family.
Absolutely.
And you know, so we love it. And then in my case, you know, the being born during the war years, you know, I further appreciate, and then Holland being small and busy, although I was born in the extreme northeastern part of Holland, within 10 minutes from the German border, and close to the inland North Sea that comes in and goes to Emden, Hamburg, and then Denmark on the other side. I'm about 10 minutes from the dike there, and 20 minutes from the border, the extreme northeast. You know, so obviously, you know, I really appreciate Canada, for liberating us, or being a large part of that. And then the other part is that, especially if you, you know, think in terms of today and watch the world all around us and see Iran, North Korea, and then in particular, that both to us has been very important, is the Ukraine.
Yes, absolutely.
And you've been very involved in that. We have other people very involved. I have to tell you something, you know, that when it first happened, you know, I said to, you know, Scott, one of my senior fellows that works with me, and I said, Scott, you got to find me a Ukrainian flag. And so we looked all over the place. Where do we find it? Well, we'll take at least 2 or 3 weeks to get one. And I said, I want it today.
Yes, that's right.
So I went to a store, the clothing store, or the you know, up the hard highway, and I went into the store. I've never been there before. And I said, I'm looking for blue and yellow. And, you know, so, and I said, I want to make a Ukrainian flag because I want to hang it up. You know, on you know, and my company is close by here, and we have flag posts, so, and you know, I want to have it hanging there, and so so they gave me that, and then I got Annie and the you know, the seamsters, and I said, Annie, I need a flag, and this is what it looks like. So she made me 4.
Oh, wonderful! And
so, and that same day we hung it up. You know, but
incredible.
But a lot of people have been very, very involved. We have paid for some of the people to come over and help there as well. Pat Bell and his family have been very proactive. And tell me a little bit more about it. You guys have as well.
Yeah, so the Community Foundation started a Ukraine Humanitarian Relief Fund. So it's a flow-through fund. So we are accepting donations, and we are giving it to Share Hope Prince George, who is really on the ground helping Ukrainians come into Prince George.
How can people donate? But is there a website, or is there a phone number?
Yeah, either. Anyway, so on our website, they can go to our website, they can phone our office, they can stop in our office, they can mail a check. Anyway, we will
Community
accept it.
Foundation.
Yes, the Community Foundation.
Okay. And then 100% of that money is going for the cause.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And we are, you know, I think the latest numbers that I heard from Share Hope was that there's 200 people from Ukraine who have come to Prince George.
Wow.
And, you know, I remember being in early meetings last year, and we said, we hope we can get 50.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible how many people are coming to our community. And from what I understand is at the beginning, it was maybe, you know, the daughter and the kids. And now the grandparents are able to come, or the aunts and uncles are able to come. So they're starting to bring the rest of their family over. Yeah.
And it's still, we watch it every day virtually on the television, you know, and the devastation of Russia bombing, and like this morning again, they used an amazing, huge cruise missile to, you know, to destroy an apartment. Is so immensely destructive.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
I you know, criminal, and you know, and you know, so, but and at the same time, having been in a war setting, I grew up there. I know how devastating it is to families that are being exposed to it, not only because of loss of life, but also all the other things around it, all the things that we take for granted. You know, like I usually talk about it, you know, the week of November the 11th to some of the schools. I usually do at least 4 schools.
Okay.
I did a couple in Surrey, a couple here in Prince George this last, talking, and I've done it for about 10 years.
Wow.
And talking about why the 2 minutes of silence and why it is so important. You know, and then, but now even again, it reminds us all that it's still very much with us, like what is happening in the Ukraine.
Yeah, it's something that my generation has never had to experience. And it just, you know, having a young family, I can't even imagine, you know, leaving everything and running.
Yeah.
And, you know, we heard of a family of 7 who arrived in Prince George a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they came with 2 backpacks.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's all they had.
That's all they had.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're coming to Prince George. So whatever we can do as a foundation to help support them, you know, we're more than happy to be able to support them and play a little role in the greater work that's being done in the community.
Yeah, and more the whole community is supportive of that, right? And then just like you said, you know, like I'm one of the few ones left, you know, that at 82, I call myself 82 and a half. You know, I have to call it halves now. It's getting close to the end. I'm just joking, you know, because I'm going to be 100, maybe even more. Why not?
That's right.
And play guitar. No,
there you go.
So it's so important to talk about it, because the other part, and that's why I've done that for the last 10 years, and in the different areas, every year already we have a number of schools in the Lower Mainland, and then some here, that gives me an opportunity to talk about why is it so important, you know, to remember. And then the other thing that is important about it is that it's not only the devastation that goes with it, the loss of loved ones potentially, but that after, at some point when things get to, if you wish, normal, they're not getting back to normal, because it takes a generation, in some cases more than that, to get their lives back together. Like even for myself, having been exposed, I still have PTSD and a child issues, and you know, and still kind of around me and my family is, you know, it never kind of totally disappeared. You know, my family, my dad was, you know, the last time that, you know, beginning of the war, he was drafted in the Dutch army, and the last time you saw him was in Rotterdam, before they bombed it, right? And then it took us 5 years, you know, before we knew he was still alive, right? So devastating. You know, so, and that's what kind of follows. That's why it's so horrible, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's, I mean, it's something that I couldn't even imagine.
No.
Couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're honored to be able to be in a position where we can help support them, and anything we can do, and happy to do it. And that's part of the reason why we're doing Prince George Live for Ukraine on May 12th.
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit. I just want to know a little bit more about your family.
Sure.
So your husband
is Dutch.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what does he do?
He is the economic development manager for the Clayton-Tenay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in Prince George.
That's right.
And Clayton-Tenay is the, we are on the unceded territory of the Clayton-Tenay.
That's right.
Yes. Right here.
Yeah.
And then how many children do you have?
I have 3 kids.
Okay, tell me about that.
So my daughter, Emma, is 10. And
sounds like a Dutch name anyway. My sister's name is...
oh, is it?
Yeah.
And then I have 2 boys, Michael and Jacob, so 5 and 8. Okay. And they are very busy, very athletic, great kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep us busy.
Yeah. Love it. And then, so now on, you said May the 12th?
That's right.
So what is going on there?
So we're hosting Prince George Live for Ukraine.
Okay.
So we're bringing in Jessica Holmes.
What day of the week is that?
It's a Friday night.
Okay.
So you can, bring your team after work and come to the celebration. We have a 4-course dinner. It's at the Coast Inn of the North.
Okay.
4-course dinner. We brought in Jessica Holmes, who is one of the top comedians from Canada. She's open for Ellen DeGeneres, Oprah Winfrey, Jerry Seinfeld, all of the big names. So she will do our keynote speaker. She also intertwines in mental health, talking about mental health with comedy. So really looking forward to meeting her and having her present at that event.
Right.
And it's an opportunity to raise funds to support Ukrainians coming to Prince George.
And that's the whole idea
That's
of
the
it,
whole
right?
point of it. That's the whole point of it. Yeah.
And so it is on the 12th. Are the tickets still available?
There are a few tickets still available. Yeah. So it's
how do they get them to go to your...
So they can come to our website and purchase them directly on our website, or they can call our office or come into our office and purchase them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's already substantially sold out, but there's still some available. So for those people that are thinking about it, hey, do it now. Mm-hmm.
And we're so grateful to Sellon and Canadian Tire being our presenting sponsor for that event. And it's hopefully will be a great community event and an opportunity to raise even more funds to support.
Right.
Yeah.
So now with the Prince George Community Foundation, you are the development manager of, what's your title?
Director of Development.
Director of Development.
Yeah.
How long have you been there?
Just about 5 years.
5 years. The organization, considering, is still relatively new, established 1995 or something.
That's right. Yeah.
What is the objective, or what was the objective, and still is obviously, of the Community Foundation? Yeah,
so a little bit of history of the foundation. So then Mayor John Backhouse, he was in Richmond at municipal meetings, and he saw on TV the Richmond Community Foundation giving out grants to their community, and he said, that's interesting. So he came back home and he said, we should have a community foundation here that supports our entire community. So we formed a steering committee and started the first foundation in 1995. And the purpose of it is to support our community. So we provide funding in every aspect of the community. So whether or not if it's social services, health, sports and recreation, education, the environment, or arts and culture, we will support it.
Right.
No.
Not business.
Not business.
No, that's a different.
That's right.
That's a different foundation.
That's right. That is. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then you have a board of directors.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
And then the board of directors are elected by their membership. Was it just not an election of the new board?
We did. We just had open call for nominations, and we elected 4 new board members in November.
Okay. So how many board members are there?
We have 14.
14?
Yeah.
It's a big board.
It is a big board. It is a big board, yeah.
And so that is I usually look for boards that are odd numbers, not even numbers.
That's
because
right.
all of a sudden you get 7 and 7.
Yes.
And yes, no, and then what?
So,
So then how long are the people involved on the board? Are they running for a certain term? Or?
So it's a 3-year term, and they can renew that once.
Okay.
So 6 years.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah. And so some of the projects that they are doing are obviously the Ukraine effort. Tell me some of the other ones that they are quite involved in.
We supported the Knox United, the Trinity Performance Center. So we provided a bunch of funding towards that renovation and the reopening of that center. We have supported organizations like St. Vincent de Paul, the Salvation Army, CNIB, Canadian Mental Health of Northern
Is it
BC.
all from the membership, or are you also attracting dollars from governments or different organizations?
No, so we're primarily endowment based. So we receive no government funding at all. It's all based on the endowment. So we primarily, the principal donation is invested into the endowment, and then the income earned every single year is granted back to the community.
And so just for our guests to understand, what is an endowment? That is a pot of money that is being invested and gets a return.
That's right.
That is then put into the foundation as funding.
Yeah. So we hold the endowment.
Okay.
And then the income, so the revenue that, or the interest that is earned every year, that's what we use to grant back to the community.
In addition to membership fees?
There are no membership fees.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So solely on the endowment?
Solely on the endowment.
Oh, wow. That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
You know, and then that has now been 28 years?
Yeah.
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 So quite amazing.
It is. And we are, I mean, this year so far, we've given out just over $1.3 million to the community and region.
Wow.
Yeah.
From your endowment.
Yeah. And we have a number of programs that we've partnered with Community Foundations of Canada on. So the Investment Readiness Program we did in the fall, which is providing nonprofits, for-profit businesses, co-ops that are running social purpose enterprises an opportunity to receive some funding to move them along the continuum so that they can become more investment ready. Right. So that was, a special project that we did in partnership with Community Foundations of Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
And you work that's working together with other groups, similar groups in other areas, right, in BC?
That's right, yeah.
So in your circle is only the greater or the Prince George proper, or does it go beyond that?
It's a combination answer to that. So we are like Prince George.
Right.
Our semi-annual granting program is specific to Prince George.
Right.
However, we have what we call regional partners.
Right.
So there's 17 northern communities that are part of our community foundation. Right. So we provide all of the administrative support to those communities. Right. We invest their funds with our investments, so that we collectively will earn a higher return. Right. And they locally in their community will do their own fundraising, and they will make their own grants, but we administer it all here locally in Prince George. Right.
Mm-hmm. And the communities are like
Williams Lake, 100 Mile House, Terrace, Kitimat, Mackenzie, Fort St. James, Wells, Vanderhoof, Burns Lake.
And is it still expanding?
It is. So we just added Williams Lake last year.
Yeah, because that, but again, I'm not overly familiar with it, but obviously the larger you are from an endowment return perspective, the more effective you can be to the benefit of all. And then there are other synergies that, are helpful to everybody.
That's right.
So it's an ever expanding group in northern British Columbia, right?
That's right. And I personally feel that we need to work together as Northern British Columbia, and we need to support one another. And if there is a small role that the Community Foundation can play in that by supporting these other regions, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you know, I'm quite involved in the forest industry,
Yes.
and and I've been in Prince George since 1965, actually, and came with. If you wonder what this is for, is that when I came in July 1965, I could speak the language, didn't know salt, didn't have a job, had a dream though. Go to Canada, and that had happened. And then the other one is build my lumber mill. That took a little bit longer. Yeah. But I had to I had to learn the language first.
That's
and then,
right.
I didn't know anybody, didn't have any family, and only had one set of clothes, 3 books, and then I had $25.47. I counted it at least 3 times, and and that's what I had.
Wow.
But it's the other thing that is important underneath that is that it's my foundational piece that who am I is, and what is important to me is attitude, passion, work ethic, but follows is success, whatever you pursue.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And avoid the negative, find that passion, that, and then work ethic comes then automatic or shoot, and then from there and then success, whatever that may be, will follow. The other thing that I did is, I wrote some books about it. Have you seen my book?
I have, yeah.
Do you have them?
I have the first one, yeah.
Was it a signed one?
No. No.
No. What happened? So anyway, I wrote a book, and the one that you're referring to is the first one. It's Against All Odds. And, and it's not about hoorah, hoorah, John, how successful he is. It's not about that. It's about that with all the challenges, PTSD, inner child, now we know, ADHD, which I only found out when I was 57. I walked into this store on 4th, and for some reason I opened this book, and the book's title was Driven to Distraction. I have no idea why I opened it. Right. And then as I looked in it, it started talking about ADHD, and I said, oh my God, that's me. And it finally explained a lot of things to me that I wasn't aware of. I was not very successful academically. I failed grade 3, and I failed grade 7 3 times. And they said, oh my God, now what we do? Send them to the mentally challenged school. Fortunately, they didn't do that.
Right.
Or get them a job. So they sent me to a factory and became a furniture maker. Wow. Anyway, so then when I came here, and then going through all of that and all the challenges along the way, is that I always felt I had to write a book about it. So this book, it took me 80 years to live it, 20 years to think about it, 2 years to write it. And I'm going to get you a signed copy, this one here, before we go. And then the other one, that I just told you about, is that I got the other one, and then in Dutch I wrote on the book when I got it. Now I finally know who I am.
Wow.
Because I was ashamed of it.
Right.
It's a mental disorder, right? Yeah. And there was so much stigma around it. And and then as I became more knowledgeable, it took me 5 years to even. 1957, the doc that we had, there was a personal friend, and and I didn't even tell him about it, for about 5 years when I was 62. And then one day I walked into his office. He said, "Why are you here?" I said, "I think I got ADHD." So we talked about it, and yes, I do. But I call it a superpower.
Yeah,
I could not have done what I did. Is a lot. I can do 20 things all at the same time, and then high energy and all the other things typical to ADHD. And so then I felt I had to write and talk about it more. The first time that I really talked about it openly was when I got the honor of receiving an honorary doctorate of laws from the University of Northern British Columbia, and had to do a presentation. And I talked about it then in terms of ADHD, the PTSD, the inner child, and all the other things, and opportunities, and all the other things that are appropriate for those kind of a setting. And then I wrote this one. It came out about a year ago. And then I'm going to get you this one as well.
Oh, thank you.
And then I wrote another one that I want to do one a year. I want to write one book a year.
Okay.
And the one that's coming out next is the Finding Your Passion.
Okay.
Living the Dream.
Oh, yeah.
And it's coming out in July.
Okay.
This July.
This July.
This July.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all ready.
Okay.
We're just in the final stages to make it what they call print ready.
Right.
So that they can put it in the machine and spit it out. We've become very, very good at it. Yeah. At doing this, but writing books is not easy.
No,
for the obvious, for one, especially when I was grade 7. No, I'm just joking. And then, but the amazing thing was probably because of ADHD and some of the other things, I'm a very good writer.
Okay.
Yeah, and
okay.
I'm very good with numbers, especially if they have the S with the 2 lines in front of it, So, no.
And I mean, I don't know a ton about ADHD, but is one of the traits that you can hyper focus on certain things?
Yeah, and not at all on others.
That's right. Yeah.
So going to school for me was a big waste of time because I was never there mentally.
Right.
And and then the other part about it, is that at one point I met a fellow by the name of Tom Romer, who is the vice president and academic at BCIT, and they were working on a project, and the project deals with the way we are studying micro certificates, is dealing mainly with the key elements of studies that you want to get, and then all the other things are additives, but focus first on the main area of getting the qualifications. And because a lot of people are not really suited to sit in a classroom for ADHD or not, some of them are like slow learners.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in this book in particular, but it's amazing how many people I have not met. I did a podcast yesterday. That lady also ADHD, and we didn't know that until the podcast really, and not disclosed, But she always knew, but and then so that has happened over and over again, and but what I say it's a superpower. And I wrote a book in particular for those people that the book is easy to read. It's written in such a way that you can start it anywhere, close it, and then go back to it wherever you want to. The other thing that you might find interesting, you get them for free, but the one thing that you may find interesting, if you see what the price on the book is,
it's $25.47.
Yeah, so, and the other book
and
is
the other one's the same.
And the other one, the next one, the next one will be too. So, and I'm going to give you a copy of those.
Oh, thank you. That's really.
So, and that to me was very, very important. So what has been important for me in particular, being involved in the lumber industry in particular, there have been a lot of challenges in the industry, lowering the annual allowable cut. A lot of the mills have shut down, sawmills in BC, probably 35 to 40, and there still are some more to go, maybe 4 or 5, some additional pulp mills potentially. And so I'm also doing podcasting on BC's forest industry and transition, and more or less dealing about where the industry was, is, and where it could be if we go forward, and what should it look like. And some of the things that have changed, obviously, is that where my vision has always been, I don't have timber, but I'm a value-added manufacturer.
Right.
I was fortunate enough that I left the formal education, which I was not very good at, and got trained as a furniture maker, and a lot of hands-on training already before I came here.
Right.
That allowed me to build the company that I have, or companies that I have now, that are focusing on value-added manufacturing. And I believe that's where the future lies. It will be innovative primary, not making spaghetti or more 2x4s that nobody wants. You know, but add more value to this precious resource that we have, and by adding value. That means training is required, and then entrepreneurship that is willing to make commitments in that area. So the companies that I have, the Brink group of companies in particular, we have operations in Prince George, you know, Vanderhoof, and Houston. Under normal circumstances, we employ about 400 people, but we don't have timber rights. Where I see the future now is that obviously what has happened relatively recently, First Nations have got a lot more access to timber, not on a temporary license, but as part of their timber. And so we see that change taking place, which likely means that they will become more involved, potentially create jobs in entrepreneurship, and becoming actively involved in lumber manufacturing in that area, in other you know, opportunities and resources as well. And you know, and then at the same time, communities are in transition now and have lost thousands of people really throughout BC, and searching for where do we go from here, and that process is ongoing, including for ourselves as a company and the major primaries. Communities in particular have not been overly involved in policy issues around forest policy. So if I look now at Mackenzie, you know, Chetwynd, Fort St. John, Mackenzie, Fraser Lake, you know, Houston, we have an operation in Houston, but the major sawmills there have shut down. It likely will adversely affect our value-added manufacturing plant. That has been devastating to that particular community. And more of that is going to happen, but we need to get into a different direction where, you know, as we look forward to through the midterm, is what will it look like? A lot more First Nations involvement, a lot more involvement of entrepreneurship, and so what I say, the future of the industry is innovative primary. You know, where 50% of the lumber that's manufactured goes up the value chain, and I believe that's where the future lies, and of the industry. But that also means that, what does that mean to Prince George Community Foundation? Is that, and you touched on that already, is that uniquely I believe that in the nearly 60 years that I've lived here, that Prince George more and more is taking on a leadership role in northern BC. We saw that with the fires in 1819. We see it with Community Foundation, as we just talked about it, and where the North is working closer together on all the resources that we have. A lot of people don't know that, and I bring it up quite frequently, is saying that 75 to 80% of the GDP, the gross domestic product, of the province of British Columbia comes from northern BC. And then I have to always kind of look back to my friends and say, don't you forget it.
That's right.
Because we want investment here.
That's right.
You know, we need a center of excellence. I've worked on that for years already. A BCIT of the North, where we can train those skill sets that we require for new industries, not only in forestry, trained here.
That's right.
As we did with the College of New Caledonia, as we have done with UNBC.
The Northern Medical Program. And
all of that.
All of it,
But it's all a work still in process, and it really ticks me off. I'm looking for the natural word I cannot use, but it ticks me off saying that, and I love these guys. I did a presentation at BCIT to students, I don't know, about 2 months ago or so, and I've been familiar with BCIT, and I walk into the campus, my God, that place is big, you know. And then my peers in the industry, the larger ones, and the 3 or 4 largest ones together, put $2.5 million together to promote a $250 million investment in expanding BCIT. I have committed $1 million already 2 or 3 years ago to the Center of Excellence here in Prince George. Me, the little company, you know, that, you know, because that's how strongly I feel about it. To them, I say, I applaud them for investing in it, but the time has come where we have to make those investments here in northern British Columbia.
Absolutely.
And then look forward to, and I was quite involved with the College of New Caledonia, and and my name is on the building and I think that was about 25, 30 years ago, I forget now how long it was, but during my presentation that I made then, the John A. Brink Trades and Technology Center is saying, this is just the start. Yeah. The opportunities are here. Yeah. We have the resources, we have the location, we have the infrastructure, railroads, and we have the location, we have entrepreneurship, we have the capital. What is the deterrent is access to a skilled workforce. That's why I did the investment in the John A. Brink Trades, and that's why we have to become much more proactive in regards to I call it the center of excellence, because
absolutely. I mean, and if we all have to work together and support each other, because it benefits all of us in the north, right? Like the more that we can work together and support one another, the better the community will be. And it goes to
the same principle, Mindy, is that what you were talking about is what you're already doing in the Prince George Foundation, so, and that's kind of where the future lies, in my opinion. Yeah. I really get carried away about it.
No, it's okay. I love the passion.
So, so in closing then, so you're very, very busy in your role that you have now, and you're probably very, very busy as a family with your husband and the kids at that age where they're involved. I know that from my grandchild, my daughter says, all I do is drive them here, drive them there, drive them there, which is good.
Yes.
But then, so what else do you do are you still involved in other things other than all of those, which is already a big plateful?
Well, you might enjoy this. So my daughter asked me this year if I would learn the violin with her.
A what?
The violin.
Wow.
Yes. So we are doing that. So that's, something that we enjoy doing together, and it has been quite a challenge.
Yeah.
But we love the outdoors. We ski in the winter. We like to go hiking. We like to camp. We, take the paddleboard out to a lake.
Yeah.
We love living in northern BC and being able to go outdoors.
Yeah. And then before we close, we should say again that donations to the Ukraine are critically important, right?
Absolutely.
May the 12th is the event. There's still some tickets available.
That's right.
And then and how do you attract more members to the Prince George Community Foundation? Are you always looking for additional membership?
No, so we don't have a membership rate. So it's really our board of directors. We do have some committees that if there's opportunity, right now everything is filled because we just went through our AGM.
So it just gives people, so they select people that are helpful to to follow the spirit of...
That's right, and we try to get a cross-section of our community so that we're truly represented in Prince George and on our board and the work that we do. But, I mean, there's always an opportunity if somebody is interested in volunteering to contact the office. And
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is my pen. Oh, there it is. I was looking for my pen. I want to sign the books for you.
Thank you.
Mindy, it was a pleasure.
It was so nice. Thank you for having me.
I'll give you a hug, but we can't do that with this.
Oh.
We'll do that after. Nice having you, and really enjoyed our discussion.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.